Okay, Yom Shishi B'Shabbos. Today's Friday. I don't know why I'm sharing this, but I'm sharing it. Reb Chaim Kanevsky. You know what that is, Reb Chaim Kanevsky? He's considered the biggest Boki alive today. He's a Valdika Goen. 50 years ago, he made a sefer on Rambam, and the Rebbe sent a letter or a telegram to Azil Zalek Salam Shalom that he should send it to him special delivery. The sefer soll sich verhalten a Tag. He made a sefer of Man Mekemis on Rambam. And the Rebbe referred to B'nai Shel HaStaipelet. He was a very young man 50 years ago. I mean, even if he's 80, he was 30 then, but he's not, I don't think he's 80. Anyway, it's Chir Mekoch and the Mashiach. And I ask people, he's a real Litvak. His father used to sign every piece of paper of the person whose name we don't say. Jeden Stickel Papier. And the wunder was, he came from Chassidim, he was apparently intimidated by him. He was a person who bullied people. This is his son. They say he's not a Mesnagid. He davens in Chabad and he encourages people to have their children to Chabad. He doesn't have that Yerusha. But he kochz Mashiach. So last year he announced Mashiach's coming Tafshin Hey. This was his announcement. And he said a few months ago, this was his koch. So someone told me this morning in the mikveh that a guy came to him recently and said to him that he wants to visit Chutzlar. He says, no, don't go now. Mashiach is Shein Dar. Mashiach is Shein Dar in Eretz Yisrael. Sashena Maise. Sashena Maise. Sashena Maise. Okay, we should all see Mashiach. Right. Those are Maise B'Peil. Maise B'Peil. Okay, now, this is the Maimon of Neach. The reason we're learning a Maimon of Neach is because there's no Maimon of Lech Lecha. Otherwise, I would have learned this at the beginning of the week. In other words, the next week we're going to be learning a Maimon which is week appropriate. Pashas Vayera on Pashas Vayera. It's a Maimon about the Keshes. It's a nice Maimon. The Rebbe has a very long Hakdama about the source of the Maimon. That it's a Maimon that the Tzemach Tzedek mentions. In part. And the Rebbe holds that it's really a Maimon of the Alter Rebbe. Chotcha Afilu, the Tzemach Tzedek only mentions a part of it as the Alter Rebbe's. The Rebbe feels, nevertheless, it's all the Maimon of the Alter Rebbe's, and the Rebbe acknowledges the fact that at this point, das heißt mit 33 years ago, Tafshin Mem Gimel, they printed the Sefer of Maimar Chassidus. If you look at footnote 2, it says where it is. It's a Maimon from the Mountain Rebbe. So, as always, or as most of the time, I put numbers on the Maimon. You have 1, 2, and then 3 is near the bottom of page Lamed Hey, and 4 is on the top of page Lamed Vav, and so on. You'll be able to follow with me. By the way, I didn't finish the whole Maimon. You're missing Sachako. You're missing 8 lines of the bracha. I had to wait for the copies. Zeis Eis Habris Begin. The Eibish Neach comes out of the Teva. Correct? We learned Chumash. Neach comes out of the Teva. And he asks himself, why did the Eibush tell him to take Shiva of the Kosher Aminim? 7 as opposed to a pair. And he decides that the Eibush wants Karbanis, which is L'cheira Pella. I can't say this for sure, but remember, before the Mabul, killing animals was the equivalent of murder. So you have to assume, and it's only an assumption, that when they brought Karbanis, the Karbanis were not living animals, they were just vegetables. In other words, this is a real assumption. When Hevel was Makriv a Shepsele, it doesn't mean he killed the Shepsele. He took the wool off the sheep, and was makriv the wool, because you were not allowed to kill animals. What do they have sheep for? They had sheep for milk. But you're not allowed to eat meat until after the Mabul. Now this could be wrong, but this is just a surmise. They come out of the Mabul, and Neach decides by himself as a Makas and Karbonis. Now it's not such a big kasha how Neach did it if it's a Ticha, because Neach learned Teda. And Neach knew that it was going to become Mutir. So he brought a carbon. When he brought a carbon, by Yarach Adeshem Es Reach and Icheach, the Eibush smelled the carbon, and the Eibush set him a bris, a covenant, which is called the Krisus Bris de Neach. The covenant the Eibush made with Neach, Zeis Eis HaBris, I'm making a bris with you, that Eid Kol Yemei Ha'aret, Zera V'Kotze V'Ker V'Chein V'Kayitz V'Ched V'Yem V'Layla Leish Beiser, which means in plain words, nature will never be suspended. That's what the pasuk means. Nature will be constant. It will always be Chukei HaTeva. The Eibush will never again interrupt the Teva. Sometimes you have famine, sometimes you have plenty, but a total breakdown of nature with the Shimsha HaMazos was never going to happen. Then it says, not only did the Eibishter make a Shvuah, an oath and make a covenant. But he also made us a siman for the bris. And what's a siman for the bris? The keshes, the rainbow. It's kashti nasati ba'adun. From now on, you'll be able to see a rainbow in the clouds. And as the Rebbe is going to explain in the Maamar in a minute, before the Mabul you could not see a rainbow in the clouds. But now there's going to be a rainbow in the clouds, and this is going to be the siman. So you have like 3 or 4 psukim in our Pasha, in Pasha's Neach, which describe the keshes. It begins in Pasuk Chof, and in Chof Aleph, and in Chof Beis. He brought a carbon, Eibush made him a promise. And then, later on, in Pasuk Ches, it says that I'm making a covenant with you, and he mentions the keshes. And this goes on till Pasuk Yud Zayin. In Pasuk Yud Zayin, the Eibush repeats again. With a bunch of psukim, Pasuk Yud Gimel and Yud Daled and Tezvav and Tezayin are all talking about the rainbow. Es kashin esati ba'onon, v'hoya ba'nan and ivnei esakeshes, v'zacharti es brisi, v'hoya esakesh. And in Pasuk Yud Zayin you have a funny thing. V'yemer Elokim al Neach, Elokim says to Neach, Zeis eis habris, this is the sign of the covenant, Asher akimesi, which I created b'ni u'bein kol basa, between me and all of the flesh, Asher al ha'aretz. This pasuk is completely redundant. Because in the 4 psukim earlier, it described exactly what the keshes is. Why did it say Zeis eis habris? So Rashi says that the Eibush, the Pashat, physically showed it to him. You know, the Rebbe tzach yikoch shtar, mare betzboy ve'eimar zeh. After the Eibush made the covenant with Neach and all of creation, there will never be another Mabul. And he added that the siman for this covenant is the keshes. He physically showed him all keshes. So our Maamar goes on this pasuk. Zeis eis habris. This is the sign of the covenant. And then the Rebbe brings the earlier psukim. Es kashti nasati ba'anon. I put my keshes, my rainbow in the clouds. V'hoisa keshes ba'anon v'gemed. The rainbow is going to be in the clouds. That's what the Maamar begins with the pasuk. Number 2, which is near the end of page Lamadal, near the end of the paragraph. How and why is a keshes, a rainbow, a siman? Which begins after the Mabul, which is the sign of the covenant. Like the pasuk says, as kashti nosati ba'anon, I took my keshes and I put it in the clouds, which indicates that until then it wasn't in the clouds. It says that Rebbe had a yedua shakeshes adovat tiri. That's the kash. Everybody knows that a rainbow is a natural thing. When the sun shines on one side of the sky, and the other side there is clouds. Through this, you see colors of a rainbow in the cloud. So the kash is, how could a rainbow be a siman? Or more precisely, what does it mean I placed my rainbow in the clouds? A rainbow and clouds go together automatically. If there's a rainbow, if there's clouds and there's light, it's going to be a rainbow. How is it a siman? Now number 3 is on page Lamed Hey at the bottom. Same side of the sheet, left side of the page. And the Rebbe says, you should know that there was no rainbow before the Mabul. The rainbow began dafke after the Mabul. There was no rainbow before the Mabul. The rainbow began after the Mabul. Favos, says the Rebbe, the lifnei ha-Mabul, before the Mabul, the world was unrefined. The way clouds existed was in such a way the light of the sun cannot breach clouds. In other words, before the Mabul, it was either clear or cloudy, overcast. There was never a Maimon Dumatzev where the light came through a little bit and created a rainbow, because the world was denser, it was thicker, and the cloud blocked the light completely and did not allow the light to be split. There were taka clouds before the Mabul. The clouds I mentioned already in Parshas Bereshit. But some sunlight could not breach them. That you should see the light through the clouds and because of the clouds. Physically, there could be no colors of a rainbow before the Mabul. Second line from the bottom of page Lamed Hey, once the Mabul came and went, we find the world, says the Rebbe, there was a change in the clouds, and the clouds became lighter. What does lighter mean? Be'efin in such a way, she'eir hashemesh, that the sun's light, yochel lihiyes, turn to Pei Lamed Vav now, the light of the sun could be neither visible al yodam through them, begavni hakesh. So there was pushed a physical change in the world. Before the Mabul there were clouds. Before the Mabul there was sunlight. But before the Mabul there was no such thing as a cloud which lets light through. There was only such a thing as a cloud that blocked light. So we have a pasuk, a kasha, and a teretz. Right? The pasuk is that the Eibishter gave us a promise, and he made it a covenant, and he gave us a siman, and he showed us the siman. And the question is, how could the rainbow be a siman? It's a natural phenomenon. And the answer is, there was no rainbow before the Mabul because clouds were too. At kan pshutei shel mikra. Now goes the Chassidus. What is the Chassidus of a cloud? Says the Rebbe, if you want to understand it, what is the Chassidus of a rainbow? What is the Chassidus of a rainbow? So the Rebbe says, you want to know the Chassidus of a rainbow? You have to first learn the Chassidus of a cloud. Before you can learn about a rainbow, you have to learn about a cloud. After, the Rebbe says, after I discuss clouds with you, then I'll be able to move on to rainbow. Look, the Eibishter created clouds when he created the world. He created the rainbow in the year 1656 after the Mabul. If you want to understand the rainbow, you have to understand the cloud. So we're reading one line on page Lamed Vav, very important, by the number 4. The first thing you need to know about a cloud is that Shem Sheha'anan Bepashtus. A cloud physically. Where do clouds come from? Ksiv Bey, it says in the Torah, Ve'ei Yala Min Ha'aretz, that the clouds came from the earth. Ve'hishka V'geim, and they go up to the heavens and then they rain back down. In other words, Sheha'anan Eid Ba Min Ha'aretz, the cloud, the vapor rises up from the earth and it collects in the atmosphere and then it rains back down. Says the Rebbe, you should know, just like that's how it is physically. The concept of a cloud spiritually is the same thing. And what is it? It's Hamare Alaveda Milmata. It shows an Araveda. Clouds are in the sky, but they're not skyish. Yeah? Clouds are in the sky, but they speak for us. If you want to know how we're holding, look at the clouds, because the clouds came from here, and they reflect our Maimed Matziv. And because clouds reflect our Maimed Matziv, you look at a cloud, you can see was tutzach mit uns. So again, let's make it clear. We're now discussing the Chassidus, and the Rebbe says, before I can discuss a rainbow, I need to discuss clouds. And in discussing clouds, the first statement the Rebbe makes is clouds are a reflection of earth. Clouds show what's happening here because they came from here. Now go back to the first page, which is page Lamed Dalet. 5 lines from the bottom of the page. So we know that a cloud is a milmat alamayla. Clouds speak for us; they don't speak for the Eibishter. Says the Rebbe, "Dehine beinyan ha'anim beruchnius yesh beis b'chinas." Once you understand that clouds are a reflection of our Maimed Matziv, you can understand that there's 2 kinds of clouds. Why? Because there's 2 kinds of Maimed Matziv, and when we're in one Maimed Matziv, we have one kind of a cloud, and when we're in a different Maimed Matziv, we have a different kind of a cloud. Then he explains. There's inyan ha'anon the malyusa. There is how a cloud is a positive thing. And if you look on the next page, Lamed Hey, about 8 lines from the top, I circled the words V'yash b'chinas anon l'greyes. You see, on the bottom of Lamed Dal it says there's a positive cloud, and on the top of Lamed Hey it says there's a negative cloud. I'll get to each one separately. Go back to the Lamed Dal at the bottom. Inyan ha'anon the malyusa. How is a cloud a good thing? Hameir al b'china nadas b'yes. A cloud actually shows something very, very positive. Now remember, the most positive thing about a cloud is that we create that cloud. We create that cloud because clouds come from the earth. How is a cloud the positive thing? The Kashemeir Gili Nailabiyes. The Eibishter wants to shine a very high light. And we're not able to receive this light. But the Eibishter wants to give us this light. And the Eitze is Tzrichim Liyanim. He provides what we call in our culture a lavush, a garment. And the garment is a cloud. By having the garment of the clouds, through this, we're able to receive the revelation. Clouds are not blockers. Clouds are conductors. They carry things to us, things that we would never be able to receive because of their potency. The garment that is a cloud, and Onon L'Mayusa brings it to us. And he brings 4 examples, I think. For example, example number 1, second line from the bottom page, and you'll look in your text, I put in Roman numerals that you can identify. Second line from the bottom of Lamed Al derech mashakosuk Yishem Shamagan Hashem Elokim. There is the divine name Hashem, which is like the sun. There is the divine name Elokim, which is like a shield around the sun. But the Elokim is not a bad thing. Fakert, Elokim is a good thing. It's impossible to look directly at the sun unless it has a shield. Kach, similarly, top of Lamed Hey now, you cannot receive the Ruchni the sun, which is the Shemesh, the son of Havaya. You have to have the shield, the sheath, the garment, the protection of Shem Elokim. So, in this particular case, the Rebbe understands Elokim not as a hider and a concealer of Shem Havaya, but to the contrary, as a conductor and a deliverer. Because of Elokim, we have Shem Havaya. 3 lines from the top now. Example number 2. The first example is how Elokim is a cloud of Shem Havaya, and it's a good cloud. And the second idea of a cloud is Matan Torah. What happened about Matan Torah? What in Chumash? The Ksiva says in the Torah, Yavi Meisha B'Techa On, and Meisha Rabbeinu went into the cloud. And there's a lot of Maimorim on this pasuk, in Pasuk Mishpatim and so on. When the Eibush gave us Torah's incredibly high revelation. The only way we could receive such a great revelation, you have to have a garment. And the garment is a cloud. The Eibush had Rashi says 3 madregas of clouds. But these clouds were not there to hide. These clouds were there to conduct, to translate, and to deliver to us the aid of Matan Torah through a cloud. So again, a cloud is a bracha. Why? It's like a garment. It modifies and brings forward an Eid Elokii closer to ourselves. That is the second example where a cloud is a positive thing. Now we read 5 lines from the top. The third idea of a cloud is a concept of a cloud that delivers a light which is invisible. But the light which is invisible is not chas v'shalom a darkness, it's higher than revelation. There's a concept in Kabbalah that godliness is concealed. The truth of Hashem is hidden in Cheshech. There's a madrega of a cloud that reveals nothing. But not chas v'shalom that this cloud that's revealing nothing is an obstruction. But faket, this cloud revealing nothing is revealing the lakus of Cheshech itself. And this becomes the third mashal. Again, let's talk it over. Mashal number 1 is the cloud of revealing Shem Havaya in the world. Mashal number 2 is the cloud that reveals the Gili Eira Teira et Matan Torah. And mashal number 3 is that the cloud gives us light which is by itself dark. And then comes the 4th example, which is the highest. I am 6 lines in the top of page Lamed Hey. The 4th madrega of a cloud is the cloud that happened in Yom Kippur. Like it says in the Torah, that in the Kodesh HaKadoshim there was always a cloud. In the Holy of Holies there was always a cloud. And the Eibush tells Moshe Rabbeinu, Ki ba'amon eiro l'ktedes. I am available to the Malachim and so on who live in the Kodesh HaKadoshim through a cloud. Comes Yom Kippur, the cloud goes away. The cloud which the Eibush put in the Kodesh HaKadoshim goes away. And therefore, the Malachim go away. And not only the Malachim go away, the Adam Shalakise also goes away. The Kain God comes into the Kodesh HaKadoshim and it's empty. The cloud is gone, the Malachim is gone, the Adam Shalakise is gone, and he burns Ketedis. And he stays in the room till the whole room is filled with the smoke of the Ketedis, and it's called Anan HaKetedis, the cloud of Ketedis. Says the Rebbe, this Anan HaKetedis is also a cloud, which is not Chas v'Shalom hiding, but delivering, and it's Gor the Hechstazah. Why? Habo al Yedei Yavedas Hatshuva. The 4th concept of a cloud is a cloud which is the conductor to transform evil into good. The 3rd concept of a cloud is to translate darkness into light, but the darkness is holiness. The 4th madrega is that there's a negative darkness, and the symbol of the cloud is to transform even this darkness into light. So B'kitzur, what do you have? Cloud category 1 is Inyan Ha'oman L'mal Yusuf. The positive concept of a cloud. And the positive concept of a cloud is that it carries light to us. Says that ever now I'm reading what I circled again. This is another kind of cloud. In addition to the cloud that I just described, on the 4 levels of the cloud of Havaya and Elikim, of the cloud of Matan Torah, and the cloud of revealing darkness, and above all of them, the cloud of Teshuva, is a cloud which is a negative thing. It shows in the greatest descent. There's so many steps of hishtalshlos and screens and blockages and a shvira and a shattering and a collapse. Though the source of clouds is in holiness, nishtalshlos, skip the parenthesis, is a cloud that hides completely. The 4 clouds we spoke about reveal. The cloud we're now discussing completely hides, and the Rebbe brings that ayah, which is mentioned in Tanya and Geras HaTshuva Perek Zayin. This is why that sin is comparable to clouds. So the Rebbe said there's a cloud which reveals, and there's a cloud which hides. The cloud which hides is the cloud that do with Avedis. Avedis is a cloud. But if you think about it, it's interessant. Why is it interessant? He brings 4 levels of an unknown Lamal Yusa, right? 4 levels of a positive cloud. Number 1, that it reveals light. Number 2, that it reveals light of Matan Torah. Number 3, that it reveals the godliness of darkness. And number 4, it reveals the godliness of Teshuva. So this 4th cloud is really the healing of the Anon Lagreis. Right? The cloud that's negative is Avedis. The 4th cloud that's positive is the cloud that transforms the darkness of Avedis into the Yinat. Okay, let's read one more paragraph. V'hine, Shem sheyesh beis bechinas elu b'inyan aruchni. Just like there is this idea spiritually, that you have a cloud which reveals and a cloud which conceals. Lachein hu gam ba'onon agashmi. That's why it's physically this way. Clouds which hide and clouds which reveal. So the physical difference between before the Mabul and after the Mabul reflects a spiritual difference. Before the Mabul, the world was in such a state that there was dense air, so the clouds hid and blocked, because it was the kind of cloud that hides. After the Mabul, the world was refined, and therefore you can have a cloud which reveals. Okay? So the Rebbe explains that Begashmias, there was a change in the atmosphere, which allows for there to be a cloud. And the Rebbe parallels this by saying that before the Mabul, there was a Choshech in the world, Beruchnias, and therefore Begashmias, the clouds hid. After the Mabul, there's a possibility for the world is refined, and there's a possibility for air, and therefore the clouds are able to reveal. Clear? Now, I want to remind you of something very, very important. What was the first thing we said? What was the first thing we said? The first thing we said was that clouds come from us. Clouds, we invent clouds. The Eibush doesn't have clouds, we have clouds. The sister says, the Eibush gives you a light. You can't get it. You bring a cloud up to receive that light and bring it in. The 4 clouds we're discussing, whether it's a cloud that's revealing Havaya, or a cloud that's revealing Matan Torah, or a cloud that's revealing the godliness of darkness, or a cloud that's revealing the godliness of Teshuva, the cloud is ours. The light is the Eibishter's. The cloud is ours. Before the Mabul, there were also clouds. But the clouds before the Mabul blocked. Why? Why was it that the clouds before the Mabul blocked and the clouds after the Mabul revealed? Pasha. Because of us. When the world was in a state of Aveda, the clouds concealed the light. When the world is in a state, at least of partial tzaddik, and maybe complete tzaddik, and maybe even Baal Tshuva, the clouds reveal. This is the Nekudah. So far in the Maamar, we have said nothing about a rainbow, but we said an awful lot about clouds. The first point, the key point is that clouds come from us. And second of all is, therefore, when we're in a bad state, the clouds that exist begashmis hide, just like beruchnias, our clouds are hiding. And when we're in a better state, the clouds reveal. So now you go back again to page Lamazov, and you begin the new paragraph. Page Lamazov, first full paragraph. Vehine ha'alman hazeh. You should know the cloud that we just explained is a reflection of our level, of our disposition, of our ma'amad ha'matzv. And that before the Mabul we were in a bad state, so the clouds hid. After the Mabul we're in a better state, the clouds revealed. Says the Rebbe, you have to know something else. That when you talk about these clouds, Shuba Shvila, Gilit, for the sake of revelation, made a Gamken Alinyan Tshuva. We mean a cloud that indicates Tshuva. We taka had 4 examples of a cloud. Shemesh Magen Avayilakim, Matan Teira, Yoshes Cheshach Sisrei, and only the 4th one was Tshuva. Says the Rebbe, but it's really true. Of all the 4, the Ikir is Inyan HaTshuva. Al Derech Inyan HaKtedet the Yom HaKippurim, like the incense brought on Yom Kippur, which was a cloud. Chabar there too, Yom Kippur, which is connected to the cloud of Yom Kippur. If a cloud has 4 in Yonah L'mal Yusuf, why would you say of all 4 the Ikir is Tshuva? So the Rebbe says, Pashat, what is a cloud? A cloud comes from the earth. From the earth means Tshuva. In other words, even though we have 4 insights into what a cloud is, the truth of the matter is, and if you wanted to say the truth of all 4 of the insights of what a cloud is, that a cloud is Inyan HaTshuva. Why? Because clouds have to do with us. And since clouds have to do with us, clouds have to do with Tshuva. So, Chachafilu, we have different types of clouds. Some reveal like this, and some reveal like this. The pnimius of clouds is the Inyan HaTshuva. Ukiyadua, you see where the number 7 is? It's the first paragraph, talk in the middle. Where does the upside down, El Tidua, it is known. Sheesh Gimel Avirim Ben Hashem Mishlorim. It says in Sfarim that there's 3 atmospheres between the sun and the earth. Between the sun and the earth, there's 93 million miles, 150 million kilometers. Right? So there's 3 Avirim. The Ha'avir HaKodev L'Shemesh, there's the area closest to the sun, which is Keteka V'Chavim, which is very hot. There's Ha'avir Ba'emtza, there's outer space where the atmosphere of the sun ends, and the atmosphere of the earth has not yet begun. Hu B'Teka V'Kiris, which is very cold. And then you have Ba'avir HaTachtin La'oretz, and you have also our atmosphere. Above the earth there is an atmosphere that conducts the sun's light. And then Mispashet Eir HaShemesh Gamke, the sun's light shines over there. And B'Teka V'Yesar, it makes heat, and maybe even more heat than the way the sunlight leaves the sun itself. Close to the sun it's hot, far from the sun it's cold, near the earth it's hot again. Why? The sun's light wants to keep on going and it can't, because the world blocks it, because the atmosphere above the earth blocks it, and therefore it bounces back, it goes back towards the sun. Which is the concept of a rebounding light, which is the theme of Tshuva. So the Rebbe says the idea of the sun's light is a dafka closest to the earth, it gets hot because it's bouncing back, is true also of a cloud. Clouds come up from the earth, and forget, they come up because of the heat of the sun. So the very concept of a cloud is connected to Tshuva. And therefore the Rebbe says in the next paragraph, once you understand what a cloud is, what a negative cloud is, and what a positive cloud is, that ultimately the concept of a cloud is in Tshuva. Because clouds come from earth to heaven, we understand now something else. When a person does Tshuva, with the light is bouncing back, which is what a cloud is, then you have a rainbow. The Rebbe says the rainbow is the symbol of Tshuva. The cloud is the Inyan HaTshuva. The rainbow is the Gilui Inyan HaTshuva. The cloud is the concept of Tshuva. The rainbow reveals that you actually did Tshuva. How is this? Because in the rainbow you have 3 colors. 3 basic colors, in other words, that started out as 1. And because of the cloud, because of the Tshuva, they became 3, which is Inyan HaTshuva. But the Rebbe explains, when a person does Tshuva, he does Tshuva in 3 different ways. Chesed, Din, Rachamim. Now, I don't know what the Rebbe means here, because it's vague. But I'm going to tell you what I think it means, which is an event which has happened before in these classes, if you're a regular here, yeah? The light of the sun is 1. The colors of the rainbow are many. The Rebbe says they're basically 3. And the Rebbe links the transition from 1 to 3 to the idea of Tshuva. And the pshat is Pashat. When you serve the Eibishter, as a tzaddik, there's one Aveda. What's the one Aveda? Serving the Eibishter. When you do Avedas, what are Avedas? Division, separation. Yeah? And the separation of Avedas means you're separated from the Eibishter. But the separation of Avedas also means there's different categories of Avedas. There's Avedas connected to Chesed, there's Avedas connected to Gvura, and there's Avedas connected to Rachman, to Yoifi, to beauty, to Tiferes, which is basically Avedas Zor. So, when you're a tzaddik, although tzaddikim serve Hashem in many different ways, it's one avodah. When a person is a Rasha, automatically there's division, there's separation between him and the Eibishter, and there's a separation between the Avedas of Taiva, which is Chesed, the Avedas of anger and murder, which is Gvura, and the Avedas of beauty, which is Avedas Zara. So when you do Teshuva, you bring into Kedusha color. A tzaddik doesn't have color because everything is one. The Baal Teshuva did an Aveda, and in doing an Aveda, he divided into many. So when he does Teshuva, the many doesn't become one again. The many becomes unified with God. In other words, what is the Maila of a Teshuva over a tzaddik pratim? A tzaddik has one job, to serve the Eibishter. The Baal Teshuva has to recollect all the different types of Avedas that are completely diverse. So when he brings them back to the Eibishter, they're all serving the Eibishter, but there are a variety of different methods that are joined together in Avedas Hashem. That's the difference between the cloud and the rainbow. The cloud brings light, and the rainbow brings many colors. Explains the Rebbe, the cloud would be how a Yid serves the Eibishter before he does an Aveda, and the rainbow means how a Yid serves the Eibishter after he does Teshuva. He brings a whole variety to a Lakus. The second paragraph that has the number 8 next to it, 4 lines in. When you do Teshuva, you do 3 different Teshuvas. Chesed, Gevura, Rachim, and Rachim Rabim. And therefore, you bring forward the rainbow, which has 3 separated colors, Chesed, Din, Rachamim. And the Rebbe concludes, it destroys the 3 klipas. So the sunlight comes through the cloud as one, and when it's coming back up to heaven in the form of the Baal Teshuva, it's 3. Okay? It's very gishmak, very interesting. Before the Mabul there was no kashes, because before the Mabul there was no Onan L'mal Yusuf. The clouds were just negative. Because the Mabul caused that Ananim could be L'mal Yusuf, that the cloud reveals godliness and doesn't only hide it, and therefore there could be Teshuva. The cloud itself is the revelation of godly light. The kashes is the revelation of the light of Teshuva, which comes completely from the bottom of the paragraph number 9. With this pshat in the pasuk, they say sabis v'game, and I'm giving you a covenant. And the covenant is as kashti nasati ba'on. I gave you a cloud, and the cloud reveals. Now I'm giving you something else. So this cloud is going to reveal a kesher. When you does tshuva, first of all, you have a positive cloud. What is a positive cloud? Cloud is the source of all blessings. All good things come from cloud. Even Bagashmi, like it says in the Pasuk, that rain comes from clouds. Over Eif and Shalbris, the Eibishter makes a covenant and an oath. The Eid, Kol Yemei Ha'aretz, all the days of the world are never going to be interrupted. Zera, V'kotze, Ke, V'chein, V'gem, V'ov, Tkufas Hashanah Leish Beis. The Eibishter promise will never interrupt, will never cease. Darki Atev. So because you didn't do tshuva, they get a different kind of cloud. They get a cloud which reveals rather than hides. But the cloud that they get that reveals is a symbol of the tshuva, of the idea of tshuva, but not of the tshuva itself. And therefore the Rebbe says next to the number 10, which is 7 lines from the bottom on page Lamed, the Yesei Rebbe, there's another aspect. And the other aspect is Eskashti Esati Ba'ana. Not only am I giving you a cloud that reveals, I'm giving you a cloud that reveals color. And the color shows takan this hapche of the Cheshach La'ed in the variety of different ways. The Yeshleim Amedarechev says, I want you to know that Shabe'inyan HaKeshes, when you have a rainbow, Shayadei Ha'onan, which has to do with the cloud, that we already know that the cloud is from earth to heaven. It's a reflection of what we do. And when we're the way we're supposed to, the clouds that the Eibishter gives us reveals all brachas. Then you have another concept, which is the Keshes. Yeshne Inyan Naila Mikol HaBrachas. The rainbow represents a bracha which is even greater than the brachas of the sun's light. It says in Medrash, the Mashakostov as Kashti Nasati V'Gema, when the Eibishter tells Neach, I'm giving you my cloud. So the Medrash Kashti Davar HaMuksh, the cloud is reminiscent, the cloud that reveals the Eibishter. In other words, to tell the Ma'ila we call Giluim and HaMuksh, a rainbow represents the Eibishter. There's a Maimah Chazal also listakel. We all look at the Keshes because it's looking at the Eibishter himself. Now, of course, you and I have a kasha. Why? How is a keshes looking at the rainbow? And I have a hezbet, I have an opinion, which I'm not going to share. But the Rebbe's point is that in a rainbow you have more the Eibush there than in the cloud which created it, even though the cloud is already in Yinacho. Because we're talking about a cloud L'Mayusa which is revealing. The rainbow doesn't only reveal the Elokus. Because we do Teshuva, it reveals the Elokus of the Teshuva itself, the transformation of the Avedis into mitzvahs. Okay? So we learned the Maamar. We're almost finished. So we learned the Maamar. The Eibishter gave us a promise that he'll never destroy the world again. And he gave us a keshes as a siman. There was no keshes before the Mabul because the world was in a worse state. There is a keshes after Mabul because the world is in a better state. And there couldn't be physically a keshes before, there could be after. And the Anon represents revealing godliness in the world, and the keshes represents revealing the godliness of Teshuva itself. Says the Rebbe's second line from the bottom page Lamed Vav, it calls over Bris. This transformation, Eibishter will never destroy the world, and there will always be light and always be teva. And there will always be a keshes, it's a covenant. Inyan Abris, the concept of a covenant is Shema'achad as ha'evin bein absadim, it unifies the two people, the two individuals, the two entities, passing through being apart. This evin v'teich guf echad mamish to be in the middle of one body. Top of page Lamed Zayin now. Liyes lachadim ke'echad mamish, that does make them one. Kum t'chayse, that after the Mabul, the Chiddush was not only the Keshes. The Chiddush was the Anon. But the Ikir Chiddush was how the Anon reveals the Keshes. Now this is very interesting because in so many Memory Chazal they speak about looking at the Keshes as a negative thing. Faket, it's explained that the Keshes is that Eibishter wants to destroy the world and he won't. Thus Faket, the Keshes is not a symbol I want to destroy the world and I won't. The Keshes is a symbol you did Teshuva. Because you create the Keshes, not I. It's a very different Keshes. But you, it explains in the Zayah, skip the parenthesis. Do not anticipate the feet of Mashiach until you see a rainbow. The rainbow is a symbol of Mashiach, and Miskashta Begavni Nehidin. It's beautified, it's decorated with very bright colors. The Inyan HaTshuva Kesha is made of it is a Tshuva. A rainbow has to do with Tshuva. Moreover, V'chol HaGimel Kavin and a Muslim Begavni, and the three Kavim of Chesed Din Rachmim that are presented by the three colors of the Keshes, all of these aspects are Tshuvas. This brings Mashiach. The whole idea of Mashiach is Tshuva. Mashiach also so the idea of Mashiach is Tshuva, and the idea of a rainbow is Tshuva. The rainbow is a remes for Mashiach. Verstehst? Number 13. It should be the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We serve Hashem now in Golus. Particularly we're learning these ideas in Torah. The Eibush should remember us on high from the bris of Neach, in particular the rainbow. And the Rebbe says that Zikar and the Neach move with the mention of Neach is mentioned to Rosh Hashanah. It's eternal. The bris of Neach, the event after the Mabul, touches the very essence of the Jewish people, and therefore it becomes a symbol for the idea of Teshuva. And then the Rebbe connects Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and Sukkot to the clouds. Number 14, in his Bayalel, I discussed before. When you see a very bright rainbow, wait for the feet of Mashiach. Says, what do the feet of Mashiach go on? Shalosh Regalim. Mashiach goes on Shalosh Regalim. So the Rebbe ties it into Yom Tov. This Fabrengen takes place when Shabbos Neach. Now Vayera was Chof. So count backwards, 20 minus 14 is 6 Vov. So Shabbos was Erev Zayin Cheshvan. So the Rebbe is pointing out how Neach is also connected to Tishrei. How was Neach connected to Tishrei? Because Tishrei is about Yom Tov and about Zikaron and about Nitzchis and